Okay, so before I really get into this, there's one thing that I just want to get out of the way, disclaimer, okay? There's no true wrong way to watch football. However you find the most enjoyment is the way that you're gonna like watching it. However, as a lot of you guys know, I spent some time as a GA a couple years back, and it really opened my eyes. Not only did my time as a GA let me understand the game on a higher level, not just schematically, but on an organizational level, practice and structural, the entire 9 yards. But the number one thing it taught me is that I, and almost everybody else I knew, was watching the game of football completely wrong. Now, if you think that this is just going to be a video of me flexing my football knowledge on people who might know less about the game, it's absolutely 100% not the case. I believe that the simple changes like the ones I'm going to tell you about are going to increase your enjoyment of the game even if you don't know a single other thing about it, albeit if you learn more about the game, yes, of course, you're going to have a lot more fun watching it. But it's not only going to improve how much you enjoy watching games, it's going to help you form better opinions about the games that you're watching in a significant manner. But if you want to increase your enjoyment in day-to-day life, you are going to love today's sponsor, Arena Club. With slab packs, you can rip open a slabbed card for as low as $25 to potentially open a card worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's an odd that I'll take any day. And with Arena Club being the most trusted name in the industry, you can actually go and see the hit rates for each pack. And then after you crack a pack, you can either immediately resell it back to Arena Club or put it in your digital showroom for later. They even have a special Arena Club drop. Like right now, you can go and rip the special Arena Club Evolution pack with a chance to open an Umbreon Gold Star. But go fast because the Arena Club special packs are only up for 24 hours. And I personally love hopping onto Arena Club and just cracking open some packs to relive some of that nostalgia. And I love it so much, I think you're going to as well. So that's why if you go to arenaclub.com/punts and use code PUNTS, you're gonna get 20% off. Now, if you've ever opened packs, you know that 20% is hard to come by. So go now and thank me later. But to understand how to watch football better, we've got to understand how you're probably watching football right now and why it's not the most optimal way to watch the game. But the main problem with how most people watch a game of football is that their eyes are largely glued to the ball. Now, this is a little counterintuitive of a thing to break because in every other sport, if you're watching the ball, you're probably watching the most exciting part of the game. I mean, think of baseball. You're not going to be watching anybody except the pitcher until the ball is thrown because everybody else is literally just standing there. Yeah, in basketball, you could be watching other players as the ball is moving down the court to see what they're drawing up, but you're probably better off watching the ball the whole time because most of the flashier, exciting plays are going to be happening with the ball, or any picks will be near the ball, so you can usually see them unfold without too much extra effort. In golf, you're also going to only be watching the ball because what the hell else is there to watch? But in football, at the snap, if all you watch is the ball, you're going to see the quarterback standing in the pocket, maybe maneuvering the pocket, getting sacked, or handing the ball off to the running back, where the running back is either going to, in the best case scenario, make somebody miss or break a tackle, in which case your viewership is paid off. But more likely than not, he's just going to get tackled near the line of scrimmage, make it to the second level before getting taken down, or go all the way untouched. And while yes, you're going to catch glimpses of some cool things, I think unless you are a quarterback aficionado who can enjoy the nuances of navigating a pocket, footwork, and line adjustment, I'm going to be very real. You're not getting the most you can out of the game. And the same thing goes for running backs. And yes, even on special teams, I employ the tactics that I'm going to be talking about. Even though if there's anybody who's going to enjoy staring down the ball of a punter to see exactly how they catch it, mold it, drop it, the great part is that once you understand what you're looking for in the next part, you're still going to be able to go back to the more nuanced things that you do enjoy and maybe even have a higher appreciation for. So the 3 different ways that you can watch a game of football, not only to maximize your enjoyment, but to increase the amount of dialogue and opinions you can even have about the game, are going to be like this. The first one I'm going to go over is the inside-out approach. Then I'm going to go over the offensive outside-in approach, and then we're going to cover what I call the defensive box approach. So to get things started off, let's cover the inside out approach. It's the most common one. It is my favorite way to watch a game of football. All right, so this is what I think is the easiest and most viewer-friendly way of watching a game of football. And normally, like I said, if I sit down and watch a game, this is how I'm going to do it. Now, the general premise is that instead of your eyes following the ball off the snap, you're going to keep them on the offensive line. Now, if you don't watch a lot of O-line, D-line drills, you may think, Isaac, what's in this for me? What am I looking for? And no, I'm not going to ask you to be able to identify the play, because whether it's a pin and pull, duo, inside zone, outside zone, or a passing play, doesn't really matter. At a base level, what you're looking for, are they run blocking or pass blocking, which if you can't identify, in pass blocking, they're going to sort of kick back, and in run blocking, they're going to be pressing downfield. From there, just pick a matchup and enjoy. In pass blocking, you can see who's winning or losing, creating or giving up pressure, and maybe see some different techniques. While in run blocking, you can just see who's winning at the line of scrimmage, are they getting a good push, and for a little bit more higher level look, try to find the double team, or when two run blockers are blocking one guy, and see what actually goes right or wrong. Did the double team work? Did it get busted up? And not only is this going to give you a higher chance of knowing what either went right or wrong in a pass or run play, but it's actually going to give you a more informed opinion of just saying, we can't run the ball or we give up too many sacks and QB pressures. Now you can start to determine where the pressure is coming from. Is the whole line getting the runaround, or is there a more specific defensive player that's making a lot of problems? Take, for instance, this run play for the Cardinals. Now, it takes almost no brain cells to realize that the entire offensive line got no push, especially as the running back was running into the backs of his own linemen 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And while it'd be an easy gripe while watching the running back, if you actually looked at the line of scrimmage, you would see that they tried to double team Aaron Donald, meaning that there was a high chance that this play was designed to go through that gap. But because that double team failed so miserably, not only did the guy they were supposed to be double teaming not move an inch, but he was the guy who made a tackle disrupting this play from its intended design. Or take Saquon's big run in the playoff game. Yeah, if you watch, you'd essentially see him just run in a straight line, untouched in the most optimal path towards the end zone, and only make one man miss, which would have required a shoestring tackle if he were to make it. And while that's great, you missed the real play that made this happen, which was Becton not only making a block, but displacing a linebacker so much that the safety over top now no longer had a good lane to make this tackle, resulting in an easy touchdown. So yeah, starting at the battle at the offensive line and just letting your eyes drift to whatever matchup seems the most interesting or a double team is just an easy and enjoyable way to watch the game of football. Like I promised, especially if you're a Lions fan, if you're not watching that offensive line, you're doing yourself a great disservice, and I would imagine it's going to be the same for the Bears this year. And another way, in a similar vein, is the outside in method. This method requires you to know a little bit more about the game, but focuses around looking at the formation and then the wide receiver routes as your primary look before moving back in to the center of the screen. And while you probably will enjoy this more if you understand defensive zones and how a quarterback makes his reads and other general passing principles, I promise that even if you're just looking at some of the basics, it's more interesting than just watching a quarterback stand in the pocket. At the beginner level, all you really need to be looking at is, are your receivers creating separation and getting open? And that's really all it takes to enjoy this. Yes, there's going to be times where there's 4 verts or 4 deep routes and you can't see the development downfield, in which case you just go back to watching the line matchups, hence it being called outside in. But even in that case, guess what? Now you have a better opinion about what you just watched. So if your quarterback is sitting in the pocket for too long and gets a sack, you can say, why are we trying to run all these deep routes when we can't protect our quarterback? There you go. And while this to me can be slightly less fun because you're less likely to be paid off for starting with the wide receivers, the payoffs can be awesome. Like watching these guys masterfully run routes and get open so the quarterback can make the correct read will leave you in awe of the communication. And also, if a guy is constantly getting open and not getting the ball, there you go. There's another thing to complain about with your team. And for the third and final way to watch a play, I call it the defensive box, where you are just looking at this central area with a lineman and linebackers. Now, first and foremost, I think the main thing you're looking at is just how many people are in the box. Is it a 4-3 with 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers? Is it a 3-4? And does it look like they're showing blitz, like walking guys down on and so forth. And I like this because similar to the offensive inside-out approach, you don't really need to understand what they're doing. You just need to ask yourself one question: is it obvious what we're doing, and is it working? Like, if you, the regular viewer, can start to get a sense of what your defense is going to do on each play, is probably not great. But the thing I like to look for is a team bringing pressure, and how much are they bringing, and is it working? This is an easy thing to see and will give you a better understanding of how your defense is operating, and all you're looking for is when the ball is snapped on a pass play, are there any linebackers rushing, and which gaps are they rushing through, so you can see how effective those rushes are. Now, as much as I've been talking about how you can technically analyze what's been going on using these methods, I think the most important thing is that you don't have to be some football guru to be able to enjoy it this way. And what you hopefully are taking away from this is that by employing one of these methods, you are simply going to just be watching something more exciting on every single play than a quarterback standing in the pocket or running backs running in straight lines or getting tackled by somebody. And whenever the action does take its way to a running back or quarterback, your eyes are naturally going to be led there anyway, so why not spend the time before that watching an actual matchup happening? Like I said, you can even use it for special teams, as I pretty much always start with the inside-out approach to see what type of front a receiving team is bringing, and I'm looking for any twists or interesting rushes, because what I've learned is that even under my insanely trained eye for punting, you can't really tell that much about the nuanced details of a punt from the shot that we're given. I can tell more about how good or bad a punt is by just watching the returner adjust to the ball and gathering information on the flight path through that. So yeah, using one of these strategies and thinking about the game and watching the game in a different way, I truly believe will 100% increase your satisfaction in watching a game of football. So use it this season and thank me later.
118 yards.